It's important to set boundaries and maintain them. And this creates a blueprint for your everyday life. And today we're going to discuss the importance of setting these boundaries and how can we maintain them daily. And when you do this, you follow this blueprint that brings you to where you need to be. We're on the journey of self-discovery. And as we're learning more about who we are, it gives us an opportunity to start implementing boundaries. Learn who you are, set the boundaries, and then you could navigate your life without regret. Regret is worse than failure. This is one of the most important messages that we're putting out there. Could you kindly hit the like button? I appreciate that very much. We're going to be talking about why we set these boundaries. We're going to be talking about daily boundaries, physical health boundaries, boundaries at the workplace, boundaries with friends, boundaries with relationships, and boundaries with the universe, because the universe is responding to you daily. And you want to make sure that what you're experiencing is actually what you want to experience. And by setting boundaries, we'll be able to navigate 2024 and beyond efficiently. We're all learning more about ourselves. And as we keep moving forward, you learn about yourself, you implement the boundary, and all of a sudden, if you stay within these boundaries, remember there is free will. Do you allow your boundaries to erode over time? Have you allowed boundaries to erode over time? You could let us know in the comments. Why should we set boundaries? We set boundaries to create space to operate, right? You have a little border. You want space to operate. But when there's people, things, and situations that are up in your grill, if you will, you do not have space to operate. So when we set these boundaries, it's creating space. Think about your journey. Do you need some space? You need some space to breathe? Creating boundaries help us take ownership and accountability. We create boundaries for ourselves. We have hard boundaries, which we're going to be discussing today as well. In this world, a lot of people don't want to take ownership. They don't want accountability. But if you take ownership of every aspect of your life, you take back control. When you hold yourself accountable, all of a sudden you're able to create great change. We set boundaries so that we can become successful without regret. You know, you might have goals, dreams, aspirations, and you allow your boundaries to get crossed, and you're sitting there with regret. You were not successful at your task, whatever you're trying to accomplish in life, because you allowed your boundaries to be crossed. But when we have the boundary and we set the boundary and we maintain the boundary, we could work, we could create, and we could become successful. Can you imagine the regret you will have because you allowed somebody else to take control of your everyday life? Authentic manifestation. Authentic manifestation. Not unicorn and rainbow manifestation. When we set boundaries with the universe, with our lives, we are able to manifest authentically over time. Remember that life is responding to you. What will you allow? You could look at your life. So why am I in this situation? Why am I experiencing this? Why is this person in my life? Did you allow it? What will you allow? Ask yourself the question and then write the boundary. Get a piece of paper and a pen today. What will you allow on your journey? Write it down, and then you realize, okay, if I don't allow this, I'm starting to manifest the job I want, the relationship I want, the life experience that I want by having the blueprint. This is what I will allow in my life. What will you allow and what will you not tolerate? Because the universe is responding to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 360. I'm just keep going. All right. You get the idea. Over time, we're on a journey, the journey of self-discovery. Once you have discovered who you truthfully are, what you will tolerate, what you will not tolerate, what will you allow into your life, what will you not, you ever see that meme? The guy, what will you not allow into your everyday life? And when you now have discovered who you are, what you like, what you don't like, what you will tolerate, what you will not tolerate, you give them the Dikembe Mutombo. Do you know the Dikembe Mutombo? You're all turning into a beautiful butterfly. Are the beautiful butterflies in the chat right now? You could let me know. Beautiful butterflies in the chat. No, you're turning into a butterfly and you're evolving. So now it's time, you've discovered who you are. Now it's time to implement boundaries, and now we set a blueprint so that we could have space to operate, we take ownership and accountability, we become successful without regret, we manifest authentically over time. Some people, they might want to make a wish and think it's just going to fall out of the sky. If it happens, it happens. But these are the ironclad ways to navigate this time period. 2024 and beyond, we have ironclad boundaries. Write it in the chat. Ironclad boundaries. And on my journey, I have always created very powerful, strong boundaries. And any time that I've had regret in my life, I allowed these boundaries to be crossed. When you move forward with your life and you do not allow people to cross your boundaries, and what can you actually do on a daily basis, on a weekly basis? And am I holding on to these boundaries? Am I adhering to my boundaries daily? Or did I, I kind of like bent the boundary a little bit for somebody else. Then you lost yourself. In this world right now, it's really important to have boundaries. I'm going to go through boundaries for my journey. And at the end of this, if you would like to ask questions in the chat, we will go over some more. If you're part of this channel and community for a while, I talk about beating the alarm. I set an alarm, and that is my boundary for the day. Because if you want to make the most out of your day, you're going to have to get up and start the day off right. So I set an alarm, and that is my boundary for the day. That's my daily, it's time to start the day. That's it. I had to rely on this boundary this past week. But if I wake up prior to the alarm, great. I get the day started. But you know what? We need sleep, and sometimes we need a little bit more sleep, get to bed early. But if we allow the day to pass us by, some people, they are just, getting up from their slumber. Maybe they're hungover. I've gone through my whole day. I've worked. I went to the gym. I trained. I'm already up to cooking my lunch, and they're still on the couch. Create a boundary for the day. Set the alarm for the day and start off right. You could have a boundary for your body, for your wellness, right? Your physical wellness. On my journey, I set a boundary. And that boundary is when I wake up in the morning and I look in the mirror, when I get up, I have to visibly see my abs, my stomach. And if you're familiar with your body, you know you go throughout the day and you're not going to look like that later on in the day. You're taking in water, right? So that's not part of the boundary. So as long as in the rising, when I get up and I could visibly see my abs over the years, I know that I am okay. However, if I'm starting to wake up in the rising and I'm seeing a lot of bloating, I'm not visibly able to see them anymore, now it is time for an adjustment. This is an example of a physical boundary that you could hold and adhere to yourself. So you might be going about, or I might be going about my journey and I'm eating a certain way. I'm going about my journey and maybe I need to add to the exercise that I'm doing. As long as I follow this boundary, right, and I wake up and at that time I visibly can see my abs, I could identify that this is where I want to be at this placement, then everything's okay. At that point, when I start to see it fade, that's my hard line. Doesn't have to be later in the day. If you're shredded all day long, that's even better. But in the rising, now it's time. I have to adjust my diet. Now it's time. I have to adjust my exercise. From that point, that is my boundary. You could have boundaries at the workplace, your job. Set a boundary. You know, we all work for people. We might work for an organization. And, these organizations, right, you go to the workplace and they say, you need to do this, you need to do that. And you work for them. You say, okay. But then there has to be a boundary, a hard line. When you say, okay, you have to do this, all right, I'll go along with it. You have to do that, all right, I'll go along with it. But maybe at the workplace, you might be told to do something, and that is way crossing your boundaries. It gets to a point in your life that it's not about money anymore. It's about your soul, right? It's about your vocation. So once that boundary has been crossed, you might have to say, okay, that's enough. I'm done here. Self-respect. Have have that boundary at the workplace, because it's not just about getting the paycheck. Maybe at the workplace, they might be testing how far you will go. It goes against your ethics. And you say no more at the workplace. So you could set a boundary, and then, which we'll get to the universe at the end, eventually you will find the way that you are supposed to work in your everyday life. Boundaries with friends. You have to have boundaries with friends, because then they keep maybe taking from you. You know, friends are friends, and friends are supposed to respect and honor you for who you are, not always because you agree with them. You know, on my journey, and I know a lot of people that are doing this work, maybe on YouTube or other places, your boundaries get crossed. If you want greatness in life, you have to focus on your mission. You have to take ownership. You have to have accountability. I show up every day. I have to do the work. But when friends, they might, get in the way, that's not true friendship. Set the boundary. And if they understand, okay, this person is moving forward and doing the work at this time, are they respecting your boundary? Or do you have to adhere to what they're saying 24/7? Even here, you might be a content creator. I always refer to the law of 80-20. Just be yourself, and naturally, that's just the way of the world. You're not going to agree with what everyone says. I go about my journey. And if you agree with 80% of what a person is sharing, broadcasting, that's pretty much in alignment. It's never going to be 100%. But you will see as you go forward that if you are not saying what they want you, what they deem you to say, you have to have that boundary. You can say, no, I'm gonna do and represent myself the way that I want to represent myself, whether you like it or not. Set the boundary when it comes to all people in your everyday life. And these boundaries, I know a lot of you are empaths. Are there any empaths in the chat right now? If you're watching on the replay, are you an empath? You could let us know. And listen, I struggle, especially with friends. The energies have been high. Remember, the energies right now, it's not good or bad. It just is. And everything is rising up right now. Everything is rising up. So it is a very high energetic time period. You cannot get, knocked away by this tidal wave, this tsunami of energy that's coming in. So I know you could be empathic, but look at your friends, look at your family. If you need to go through this, only a few are able to. Otherwise, if it was easy, everyone would do it. If it was easy, everyone would do it. So you have to really set the boundaries when it comes to friendships in your everyday life. And people will respect you. Are they respecting you for who you are, or do they only respect you when you agree with them 100% of the time? I think that is something that many of you will resonate with as we continue this. Could you hit that like button if you just stumbled in? I appreciate that. Hit that like. Critique your friendships as you move forward. Do your friends appreciate you? Do they respect you for who you are? Or do they only like you if you agree with every single thing that they say? And that's just the way of the world right now. And you got to be more fluid because nobody knows everything. If you knew everything, you wouldn't be here. This is Earth School. So we're on this journey of self-discovery. You're going to reflect back on some of your friendships, acquaintances, people that show up in the comments, whatever it might be. And do they like you for who you are? Or is it only because you agree with everything that they have? Otherwise, that's it. That's not a true friend. That's not authentic. There's many people that I have in my everyday life. There's not one person that I agree with 100% of everything that they say. You have to take people for who they truthfully are. You have to have boundaries when it comes to a relationship. And this could be very dangerous. You have to remember that, especially if someone is in your energy field over a long period of time, all boundaries can begin to erode and deteriorate. You need to have ironclad boundaries. And on my journey, as I know what I can and cannot tolerate and the self-respect that I have for myself, as long as I fit within the boundaries, the blueprint of my life, and the people that I allow into my life, they follow these boundaries, everything kind of moves smooth sailing. But you could actually see once you kind of let things go, and it's difficult when you are dealing with other people because everyone is a different individual and has free will. I want you to reflect on these words right now. If you've said this to yourself, you could let us know in the comments. You might get to a point where you say, oh, you might want to have a relationship with a particular individual. And do you say, yes, this is 100%. Or did you say to yourself, yeah, you know what? I might as well. When you go through your journey and you come to a point, a quantum jumping point, and you say, yeah, you know what, I might as well, and it's not 100%, that's where the boundaries begin to erode. And you can't move forward with life saying, you know what, I might as well. And every time that you say, you know what, I might as well just do it anyway, because nothing. The universe is always responding to you. So as you say, I'm going to allow this, then more of this or whatever it might be is going to pop up into your life. What are you going to allow in your everyday life? The universe always is responding to you. And you have to make a decision. What are you going to allow? Now we've gone through this journey of self-discovery. And I could see, and you might be able to see, oh, you're going to allow this to be your physical well-being? Well, there you go. Universe says you're going to tolerate it. There you go. Oh, you're going to tolerate this narcissist in your everyday life? There you go. Oh, you're going to tolerate this in the workplace? Well, there you go. This is how it works. And this is why boundaries are so important, especially right now. If this is helping you, please hit that like button. I appreciate that very much. Grateful for the support. Because people have to learn this. And we only learn this through first-hand experience. Once again, we only learn this through first-hand experience because you have to actually live life to know. Otherwise, you will not know. You can't look at your things that you went through. Oh, this was terrible. No regrets. You learned. And guess what? Some people learn in a week, and some people take a year to learn that same thing. So it's just your individual journey. So now you've gone through your journey of self-discovery. You discovered who you are, and now you say, this is what I will allow, and this is what I'm not going to allow. And then all of a sudden, you see the universe respond to you. All of a sudden, your physical well-being, it starts to improve because you set the boundary and you're implementing on a daily basis behaviors that are going to support that physical well-being. If it's important to you, then it will happen and the universe will respond. But you're also doing the work. You're not going to tolerate abuse at the workplace. Well, then, you know, if you're going out there and you get denied this job, why are these doors closing? Because you already said to the universe, I'm not going back into another building to be abused. So therefore, you're not going to be going to those old school jobs. Remember, the world is changing right now. Jobs are changing. It's becoming more vocation. And you're going to love what you do, and it's going to be in alignment. And if it's not in alignment, and you said no, well, that's why you're not getting those jobs any longer. Hope that's helpful. You might be looking for a relationship, and you said, there's no way on God's green earth that I'm going to allow a narcissist into my everyday life ever again. And you've put this out into the universe, and then you're sitting there and you say, well, how come this person, they just disappeared? Or how come that person, they just disappeared? Or they you know, what's all this weird behavior? Because you have already put the frequency into the universe that you will never allow a narcissist back into your everyday life. And, you know, at first glance, you know, we're all living out, we don't know what's the energies that are going on behind the scenes. It actually takes a little bit of time. You know, and then you could say, oh, that's why. Because I've already implemented this boundary with the universe. I'm not going to tolerate it. Ask the question, what will you allow? What will you tolerate? And what will you not allow or tolerate? And now you have this blueprint. And you have this blueprint of boundaries. And now you move forward with your everyday life. And then naturally, people of a similar vibrational frequency and resonance will now come in. Your life experience will now come in. If it's health and wellness, your body is going to be health and wellness. If your job is about vocation and not reporting to a building to be abused all day long, then your life is going to represent, I'm doing what I love to do, and I'm going to show up and I'm going to do this work and I'm going to keep moving forward. Thank you so much for the support. I appreciate you very much. And Australian, I saw that earlier. Thank you so much. I really appreciate both of you. Thank you so much for the support. I'm just flowing in the zone today. We got a lot to break down, a lot of boundaries. Energetic boundaries are important. We're head to 2024. You want to have this life. You keep saying to yourself, oh, I got to have this in my life. Well, are you the writer of the subconscious program? Are you the writer of the boundary? Or did you allow people to walk over the line? I talked about years ago, I did this in a video. Please smash the like button. Hit that like button. It's going to help others find this very powerful message today. Bugs Bunny. Remember Bugs Bunny? Bugs Bunny teaches us about the narcissist and boundaries. And Yosemite Sam was coming in. Remember Yosemite Sam? If you don't remember this, you got to look this one up. But this teaches us about boundaries and the narcissist. And so they're by a cliff. And Yosemite Sam keeps bothering and chasing Bugs Bunny. And Bugs Bunny takes his toe and he draws a line in the sand. And he says, I bet you won't cross this line. And he goes, I'm stepping over. And then Bugs Bunny backs up and he says, I bet you won't cross this line. And he goes, I'm stepping over. And then right at the edge of the cliff, and Bugs Bunny puts his toe out and says, I bet you won't cross this line. And he goes, whoa! And he falls. There he goes. There he goes off the cliff. The narcissist always oversteps their boundaries. They will overplay their hand, and there they go off the cliff. You have to ask yourself the question today, what will you tolerate in your everyday life? And set the boundaries. It's a true story. There he goes. There goes Yosemite Sam. There he goes. There you go. No, Bugs Bunny teaches us a lot about the spiritual awakening journey. Teaches us about discovering ourselves. I've shared this before. Always be true to yourself. Respect your boundaries and be true to yourself. And don't allow people, things, or situations to cross your boundaries. And as you move forward in life, you have to create space to operate. Otherwise, there's individuals, there's people, things, and situations that want to actually siphon your energy like a parasite. So now you have created space to operate. I have this space here. I have so much space for activities. We have so much space for activities now. I know some of you remember that one. You have space to operate now. You need this space to nurture your dreams. You have a beautiful plant. You want to nurture the plant. Give it some space. If you have it in the corner there, right? It's bumping against the wall. It's not growing correctly. So you have to really have space to nurture these things. J.D. Parker, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate the support. Michael, thank you for being here every day. I appreciate you, J.D. It's my honor to be here every day. J.D., when you're in alignment with your vocation, you actually get energy from it. And that's why we always really have to stay focused. What are we doing? Is your job, is it charging you up, the work that you put out to the world, or is it draining you? Is your relationship, does this individual have your back? Do you feel it? Do you feel charged up, or are you being drained every single day? Your friendship, is it an obligation? Well, you know what? I know this person for a long time, so I guess I'm obligated to do it. Or you feel charged up. You have a family obligation. Son of a... Do you feel like that, or are you charged up? You got to get in tune with the universe. Tesla said, if you want to know the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And you are a frequency, and you're broadcasting a frequency, and the universe is responding to you every single day. The universe is responding to you. What will you allow in your life? What is allowed to be part of your life? So now you have to look at this authentically. And I hope that this is a very powerful message today. Please keep hitting that like button because others will get this message. You hit that like button. You say, but all of a sudden I can't get these jobs anymore. All of a sudden, all these people are, they're exposing themselves. They're running. They're literally running from you because you're not tolerating bullshit in your everyday life. Yeah. You don't tolerate it anymore. So what are you going to tolerate? You could actually work with the universe itself of your actual journey. And you could say, okay, this is the situation. So look at the situation. Look at your situation. And you're like, oh, but I thought I was supposed to do this. I thought I was supposed to. Then you just say, okay, I'll stop. The universe will respond to you. Okay, I'll stop. And just sit there. A lot of times we keep pushing and pushing and pushing, and it's actually creating a vibration of lack. You know you're calling, something's off. Okay, I'll stop. And if it's supposed to be, it will be. And that's a very powerful thing to implement in your life. Okay, I'll stop. I don't have to participate any longer. And you might even find yourself, that's why it's all a spiral. I talk about the spiral before, our lives, the timeline is not a line, it's a spiral of lessons. And okay, you might find yourself in isolation. Shut it down. And now you sit and you process. That's why we go through seasons. God gives us seasons. Everything has its seasons and cycles. That's why we go through the isolation season. We come out, then we have so on and so forth. You have seasons of lessons, then we have seasons of abundance. And abundance is coming in. The seeds that I plant today will not bear fruit today. Look at the past few years. You've been planting the seeds, and those seeds are about to sprout. And all of a sudden, you have infinite fruit, infinite abundance. You have to stay focused on discovering who you truthfully are. Because if you have the wrong boundary you want the boundary here. Oh man, I didn't leave myself enough space. I drew the boundary wrong. Does that make sense? Oh, I didn't make enough space. So you gotta restructure everything. And that's why we go through these periods. A restructuring period, a recalibration period. So restructure your life. Realize what are you implementing? And did you implement it right? Do we get a second chance? Do we get to clear it out? Absolutely, Kim. That's where we have to be. What will you allow? It could be with yourself. Take ownership. Take accountability. What am I allowing in my life? And I have seen how if you allow one boundary to erode, other boundaries can erode along with it. So sit there today, get a piece of paper and a pen and start writing. What are you going to allow in your life? What will you allow for your physical well-being? What will you allow for your daily accomplishments on a daily basis? What will you allow for 2024? It's coming up real soon, kid. What are you going to allow? What are your boundaries at the workplace? What are you going to tolerate? What are you not going to tolerate? What are your boundaries with friendships? Are you going to allow boundary? Do you even need that? Is that even a friend? Do you need that? What are you going to tolerate in your next relationship? What are you going to tolerate? Are you going to allow this? Are you not going to allow it? The choice is yours. And what will you allow for your overall everyday life experience? And put it out to the universe. This is what I will allow. No more, no less. These are my boundaries on the journey of self-discovery. And so it is. I love each and every one of you. I hope that today's lesson is helpful for all of you. We have daily videos, 9 a.m. Eastern time here. We show up every day. Show up every day. And all of a sudden, you start to see changes. You don't have to do it all in one day. Just make little changes on a daily basis. Set that boundary. 1% better. That's all you got to do. I'm going to learn one new thing every single day. That's all you got to do. Simple, and over time, it all lasts the test of time. Please click the like button. Please click the subscribe button. If it calls you and you would like to join us on Patreon, the link is in the description. We host Zoom meetings. We're going to have a live stream meeting tomorrow night over on Patreon. You can check that out. And start to shift things in your life. You can. I appreciate that, AV123. I love you. I appreciate that. Yeah, and this is where you have to be in alignment. You got to not worry. You got to not worry about. Just put it out there. And I'm grateful for all of you sharing this. You hit that share button. Share this. We don't have to worry about the popular thing. Oh, if I do this, just put it out there. And if it's authentic, it's going to last the test of time. Harley Ray Crystal Shop. Thank you so much for the support. I appreciate you, Harley Ray. Draw your line in the sand, ABP. Always be pumping. I appreciate that, Harley Ray. It's the official sage of our everyday lives. Yeah, you should check it out. You got to get organic sage. Listen, you got to, listen. Do you sage your surroundings, right? So now implement all things for your surroundings, not just the sage too, right? It's the same thing. Maria Richards, thank you so much, Maria. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate you, Maria. It's my honor to do this, and I appreciate you being here. We actually, that's right. We need sage, and more sage going into, get ready. Clean slates. If you're new to the channel, head over to the channel page for this update of achieving a clean slate. And that's what's happened. That's what's happened. We've had a clean slate. We've cleared all the densities, all the baggage, all the drama, all the narcissists. Everything has been cleared. Now with the clean slate, okay, you ready? Now we start getting the blueprint. The old blueprint, you crumbled it up, you threw it out. Now we start drawing. Okay, these are the boundaries here. Draw the lines. Don't cross the lines like Yosemite Sam. I appreciate all of you. Share this message. Check out the channel page. Head over to YouTube Shorts. We have a lot of information to get out to the people. Grateful for all of your support and everything that you do. Clicking the like, sharing, subscribing, all that stuff. It's so grateful. Be in alignment. Show up every day. Set the boundaries. We're headed to a great year. A year of abundance is coming. So have ironclad boundaries for 2024 and beyond. I love you all. I will see you tomorrow. Bye for now.